Have you ever seen someone so good that instead of feeling inspired, you just felt small? Not excited, just small. Because I have. I'm a competitive swimmer, and I remember one moment in my life very clear. It was when I first started swimming. I was on a pool deck getting ready for my first swimming practice at a new club. And then that's when I saw them. The fast and talented senior swimmers. Despite some of them being the same age as me, they were still more sculpted, more athletic, more lean, more confident, and more everything. Oh, sorry. But yeah. Basically, I remember that they dove into the water, and I was like watching a different sport. Their strokes were so smooth, their turns were so sharp, and now that I think about it, I feel like every one of them had a passion so strong for swimming that it was more than just a sport for them. It was part of their identity and a way to express themselves. So, what was I doing at that exact moment? I was on the corner of of the pool deck, and I thought to myself, I don't belong here. I'm just the average Philville kid who can't even swim 50 meters at the easiest stroke without gasping for air. That first moment wasn't inspiring at all. It was uncomfortable and intimidating. And it almost made me want to quit swimming right there and then. But at that same moment of feeling intimidated, something inside of me changed. When I first started swimming, I thought inspiration was supposed to feel good. Like watching one of those motivational videos that claims it can change your life forever. Or listening to a speech that makes you feel pumped and powerful. But real inspiration, especially in sports, often arrives as discomfort. Sometimes it feels like failing. Sometimes it feels like embarrassment. And sometimes it can even feel like being outperformed. Let me take you to my thoughts that day. I remember thinking, they look so cool in or out of the water. I'll never be that fast, label confident. And what's the point of even trying? Maybe you've had house like that, G. Whether it's in school, sports, or just in overall life, when we see other people who are better than us, it's easy to turn comparison into something negative. We're often told by people, don't compare yourself to others. But what if that's not always true? What if comparison isn't the fault? What if it's how we interpret it? Because later on in my journey, when I encountered even more setbacks, something how we push through even on my worst hits. Now, during that first practice at the new club, I felt intimidated and defeated. But later, I realized that those swimmers weren't just better than me. They were showing me something. They were showing me what was possible, what could be achieved, and most importantly, who I could become. I began to look at them in a different perspective. Instead of thinking, I'll never be like them, I started thinking, so this is what being fast could look like. Instead of feeling small, I started adjusting my habits, and I started looking and observing the senior swimmers swim almost every day. I asked myself some questions. How did they kick so explosively? How did they turn so fast into a wall? What are they doing that I'm not, and how can I train myself to be like them? That uncomfortable feeling of feeling weak didn't disappear, but it changed. And first, it became curiosity, and then became inspiration and motivation, and finally, it became passion. Now, I didn't suddenly become the fastest swimmer in the world. I still had times where I felt sad because I didn't get a personal best time. I still felt tired after swimming in competitions, and I still had days where I felt behind with where I wanted to give up. And now I had a clear direction because I had seen something important that was on a higher level than where I was. Here's what I've learned. Feeling inferior doesn't mean you're weak. Feeling outperformed doesn't mean your efforts are to pay off. Sometimes it just means that you've been introduced to your next level. I felt the same thing when I started learning the Guzheng, a traditional Chinese instrument. Now, when I first listened to it, I was astonished by its beautiful tune and calm tone. At first, I was praised by both teachers and peers because of how fast I learned so many techniques. I became so obsessed in learning this instrument that had rushed the process of learning it. And as a result, my basics weren't very strong, and I started to lag behind my peers with the added stress of my swimming and tightly packed schedule. Now, to be honest, I was really scared. I felt behind and I felt frustrated that I hadn't been the best at something I devoted so much passion and effort into. But this time, I understood something. Feeling behind doesn't mean you cannot improve. Sometimes it just means that you could introduce to your next level of flaw. So this time, I kept progressing, but at a slower and steadier pace. And later, I helped create a gym club at Solid House. That same feeling of failure had turned into progress. I think many people misunderstand the concept of comparison. Think about it like this. What is the person who's making you feel jealous and you're a bit upset is the person who's actually showing you the future. What if that moment where you feel like you're not good enough is the exact moment that's pushing you forward? Maybe for you, it has nothing to do with swimming. Maybe it happens to you in school when someone gets the grades you wanted. Maybe it happens to you in art, let's say, when someone draws a better sketch than you and makes yours look ugly. It can even happen in life when you feel like someone's more comfortable and successful than you. Those moments can hurt because we live in a world where we try to avoid discomfort and pursue happiness. We want success, fortune. We want happiness. We want to feel good all the time. But those small moments of discomfort can also teach us something. Growth often begins with, I'm not there yet, and I feel behind. So now, when I walk back to the pool deck, and when I see swimmers who are faster than me, I still have that small moment of doubt, but I don't run away from it anymore. I use it. I remind myself, if they can do it, then it's possible. So, the next time you feel upset, the next time you compare yourself to somebody else and feel like you're behind everybody, don't quit or feel discouraged immediately. Pause and ask yourself this question. What is this showing me? Not why am I not good enough, but what can I learn from this? Because inspiration doesn't always arrive as confidence. Most of the time, it arrives as discomfort. And if you can learn to recognize and reframe it, then that discomfort can become your greatest advantage. Key.